Ladies and gentlemen, podcasting since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio with your hosts, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Pena, the always opinionated Paris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
And you're listening to episode 787 of Gamertag Radio. I'm Paris, and I'm here with Pete.
Good morning.
So, no Danny on this episode with us, but you will be hearing from Danny later as he is in Columbus, Ohio at the Call of Duty World Championships. He's been there all weekend, and he actually was able to get a couple of our community members access to the show, behind stage access. I believe they got to meet Luminosity, the team as well.
Correct.
So that was an awesome thing. But yeah, Danny's going to have some audio from the show, which he will go ahead and plug here into the show in a little bit. But before we get into all of that, just want to remind everyone, this is Gamertag Radio. You can subscribe to us over at Audio Boom. You can find us obviously at gamertagradio.com. You can sub to us at iTunes, Google Play, the new Vectrex. Anywhere you can do an RSS, you can subscribe. It's great. And if you want to leave us feedback, Danny, go ahead and let them know where they can do that.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right, Pete, you actually took a little trip this weekend as well. I mean, I know there's some embargo dates surrounded about that, but what can you tell us about your trip to San Francisco?
All right, I can tell you basically what I went for, what I saw, but as far as details on the individual titles, I am under embargo for the time being. So yeah, shout out to Ubisoft. They've got a great PR team that really appreciates the work that we do, and vice versa. You know, they're always looking out for us. So, you know, first and foremost, I want to give thanks to them for inviting me out. Second of all, we went to see what they call their pre-GamesCom showcase. So just prior to GamesCom, which is getting ready to kick off in a couple of days, what they do is they spend like 2 days getting access to writers, journalists, media, bloggers, gaming influencers, to check out what they're going to be showcasing at Gamescom, which gives smaller avenues or smaller media groups an opportunity to actually provide additional coverage for their games. This weekend, I had an opportunity to check out Starlink Battle for Atlas, which is coming out on October 16th, Rainbow Six Siege, the Grim Sky DLC, which I actually got to play, and it's pretty interesting. What else did I get to do? There were so many. Anno 1800, which is kind of like Civilizations, but by Ubisoft. Trials Rising, which is the new iteration of Trials, which is pretty silly and fun. I got a funny story about that one. What else? The new Crew 2 DLC. I got to check out Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I know you had a good time checking out at E3 earlier this year, Paris. And
I did.
I thought you did.
Are we sure Are we sure I did?
I thought you did. Or did you just do the interview?
or did I say I played it and felt like, why is this a full game? Why is this not just an expansion?
That's a conversation we can have here.
Yeah.
And what else? There's two more. There's Transference, which I had already played, so I wanted to skip out on. I didn't want to spend too much time there. I wanted to focus on other things. And the last one was For Honor, Marching Fire, the DLC, which brings us into the Chinese dynasty. So that's what I got to cover. Had some great ramen with our good friend, and got to hang out with some friends on Thursday night, which is something I rarely get a chance to do when I go out there. Right? It's usually run in, do what we got to do, and run out. And I actually had all of Thursday afternoon and evening to canvass the city, check out Chinatown, which I hadn't done in many years, and just walk around and just have fun.
That's awesome. That is great. Glad you had a good time there.
So, funny story. In the middle of my interview with John Lloyd, who's a community developer for Trials Rising, I referenced a character that we saw at E3 on stage, right? Remember the guy that came out in like the Star Spangled suit? Do you remember that at the press conference for Ubisoft for the Trials Rising part?
I do not remember now.
Okay, so there's a character, right? We'll just use that. That's synonymous with the Trials Rising franchise, and everybody is always asking about him. And so I referenced him as an overweight Evel Knievel, because that was the only way that I could come out and express myself and describe who he was. And then after the interview, the PR and the community developer like, that was our CEO. And I was just like, oh, he's going to get a hoot out of hearing that you just called him an overweight Evel Knievel, because he comes out like red, white, and blue Star Spangled uniform and helmet and stuff like that. So I just thought it was hilarious. I was like, well, there goes my chances of getting into the beta. But, it made for a lighthearted conversation during the interview. So you guys will be hearing that in the next couple of days.
That's awesome. That's great. Great to hear. Anything else that you can divulge, or should we go ahead and move on?
There's some interviews that I was able to do. I was able to speak with the presentation director for Rainbow Six. We got into detail with everything coming out for Grim Sky, which will be announced later this afternoon, because the finals will be going on later this afternoon. They're having the Paris finals now for Rainbow Six Pro League. Starlink, I'm still waiting to hear back from PR, because while we did get to check out some new things, obviously Fox McCloud, get to fly around in the R-Wing. I spent considerable time on the Xbox and the Switch versions of Starlink, and I did capture a lot of videos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and grab bits and pieces of the interview that I got to do with the producer, Matthew Rose, put that into the video, as well as give my own personal commentary on it. That one is a little bit more tricky with the video side because of all the capture stuff that I did. But with regards to the audio interview, we didn't really speak a lot about the new things that they were presenting that day. It was more so I wanted to go into the history, the thought process behind building out the whole controller, because that's one of the big things about Starlink is like you get a build-on attachment thing that you put on your controller that works in real time. So I'm trying to see if we can get that interview released early, and then I think we have to wait as well for the embargo to drop for Trials Rising.
Gotcha. Okay. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to hearing all that stuff. That's great. Glad you had a good time in San Francisco. And it's just you look at Ubisoft as a publisher these days, and they just have such a wide range of titles hitting different genres now that there's something for everyone. Let's put it that way. So that's great to hear. Now moving on to another publisher, Bethesda, and more specifically a studio, Arkane Studios, which is known for making games like Prey and also another game called Dishonored. Well, speaking of Dishonored, lead designer Ricardo Bear, I guess at QuakeCon this year, mentioned that Dishonored is going to take a rest, or it's resting for now. AKA, I view that as Dishonored 2 did not have the sales that they expected. So instead of getting a Dishonored 3, that studio is going to go do something else. That's what I took from that when he said that. I think it's unfortunate. I did think at the time when Dishonored came out, so I guess that would have been holiday 2016. Yeah, holiday 2016. Shouldn't have come out then. I feel games like that, you don't drop into the madness of the holiday season when you're going up against the Call of Duties and even like this year, the Red Deads of the world. A game like that needs room to breathe. It would have been better off coming out either very early, like late summer, like in August or something like that, or maybe in the spring time frame, maybe like in April or May, so that it just gets room to breathe. It's not competing against too many things. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, Dishonored is a very underrated franchise. It's really good. There's just the mechanics of the different ways that you can tackle objectives in the game. It gets really in depth. And I think a lot of people sleep on it. I really do. And I'm fortunate by Bethesda putting out Dishonored 2 in the holiday. Look, people just passed on it. It's just, that's what happens. Everyone's, running out for the known AAA sequel game that they've tried and true that they always play. So when it's something like Dishonored 2, because look, the first one was a new IP and unknown. I mean, it had great word of mouth, but I would suspect that its sales weren't that great either. So then here you go with the sequel. Obviously, Bethesda probably was banking on it hitting a certain number, didn't hit it. Now we don't get a third one. I liken this to, when we look at an EA and we look at Respawn with like the Titanfall franchise, very similar, where if you actually play it, it's fantastic. But I just don't think enough people actually play the game so that it gets the love and the sales numbers that it should. Curious your thoughts.
I agree. Severely underrated title, Dishonored 1 and 2. I think I don't want to say game changers, but they really, really did what they did very well. And it's a shame when sales performance figures don't match up to the critical success of a title. The Dishonored franchise in and of itself has, and I might say, obviously, I think the primary is always going to get more kudos than its sequels. But as a whole, they've always done very well from a critical component. Unfortunately, that doesn't always translate to commercial success and whether the viability of a title continues on. And we here have said that if you need to take a break, whether it be for franchise fatigue, as we saw in the case of Assassin's Creed, which, you snarkily commented at the beginning of the show, I don't know if sometimes this is the right thing to do, right? I think the Dishonored franchise could have probably held off, like you said, maybe dropped in the latter part of the year or post-holiday. So maybe, I guess, January, February, let the rush of the holiday season die off and then drop Dishonored. But when you're talking about publishers looking to cash in on their franchise's viability and their optics, this is something that happens. I hope this doesn't mean that it's going to take, another 5, 6, 7 years to see. But I would like to see this come back in maybe 3 years, 2-3 years, give it a chance to get its legs back under itself, reestablish itself from a story perspective, and then go from there. I think they made a lot of headway, especially with character development in this last one. And I'd hate to see this whole franchise go away.
Yeah, I agree. And unfortunately, I do think by the fact that they're going to come out and say it's taking a rest means we're not getting it in the next 3 to 4 years. I do think it's going to be a while before we see it again, because if it was in active development, it would probably take about 3 or 4 years for us to get the next one versus them not doing anything with it at all. So unfortunate, but it's part of this industry. It's what happens when you have these big budget games, and if they don't get these publishers don't get their return on investment, then they're going to move on to something else that will. That's why when you look at a Bethesda, that's why they have a Fallout 76. That's why they have an Elder Scrolls 6 that's coming out. They're going to go with the IPs that they know will make them money, that will sell. Across the board, any of these publishers, you can go look at what Xbox does, you can look at what PlayStation does, et cetera, EA, all down the line. That's why we get multiple sequels of things. Like we talk about Activision. Hell, we're on Call of Duty. If you do the actual number, aren't we on like Call of Duty 12 at this point?
Something like that.
Something crazy like that. And no signs of slowing down. They're going to continue to do that because Call of Duty makes Activision money. So why would they stop?
So
doesn't mean these publishers can't take risk and try new IPs. I mean, we see that. But then us as gamers, I'm flipping it back and I'm wagging the finger of shame at us. We scream, we want new IPs, we want innovation, we want this, we want that, blah blah blah. Too many sequels, but then they try a new IP and we don't buy it. That's what happens.
Yeah.
And so then they just go back to what they know. They go back to the tried and true. And like, let's take Madden as an example, because, I've been playing Madden lately. Haven't been streaming it, Elgato, but I've been playing it. And, this Madden is pretty good, but I still feel like I'm playing the same damn game I played 10 years ago. But that's me. You know what I mean? And I understand with a sports game, you're not going to divert too far away from the formula that works. But man, and I'll even put NBA 2K in this as well. I would really love to see them try something different with one of these sports games. Maybe you need to spin it off and have like a sub sports game that tries it and see where it goes. I don't know. Maybe you don't want to do it with the main franchise. But man, it's why I don't get sports games anymore, because I played them 10 years ago. They're really not changed that much. I mean, I, to be honest with you, I'm not into the whole story mode stuff. That does not drive me at all, because
like dynasty mode or whatever, where you're building a character for life.
My thing is, I want to go against you, Pete, online, and we trash talk it. That's my thing. But I would love to kind of see the formula of how that gameplay transpires online change. I'm not a game developer yet. No, who knows? But I would like to see those kind of risks. But I understand the business side of it. I understand why they do what they do. And, it is what it is. But just again, with the Dishonored thing, unfortunate, but I get it. Similar to what's happening with Mass Effect right now as well, since Andromeda obviously didn't sell the way that it did. It's just part of the process, unfortunately. So I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
There's you brought up two titles or two developers in that conversation with regards to this. Call of Duty. Arkane Studios worked on the multiplayer aspect of World at War for Call of Duty back in 2008. I know we're not going to see another spin-off or another developer branch of Call of Duty. I think there's already 3 working on it as it is right now, between Infinity War, Sledgehammer, and Treyarch. So I don't think we'll see that split off. But they also worked on a small title called BioShock 2. And I'm curious if there is any chance or opportunity that we could see maybe them putting this title on hold or on hiatus as a result, simply so that they can focus on other titles. We already mentioned, they worked on Prey last year. They did the expansion for Dishonored 2 out, but they worked on BioShock 2. So is this maybe them giving their studio a break so that they can focus on other projects, such as maybe another BioShock title?
No, because BioShock is 2K. Bethesda owns Arkane now.
Do they?
Yeah, they're an internal studio. They're internal studio for Bethesda now. I take this as they're probably doing more Prey, personally. That's what I think. But I mean, we'll see in the next couple of years, when it comes out. Gotcha.
Okay. Well, then never mind. My theory goes right out the window.
Okay, what do I know? I don't know nothing. It's just discussion. But moving on from that, so something I have to bring up. So cue the eye rolls. Destiny 2 Forsaken, which we know is coming out on September 4th. And, Bungie, matter of fact, they're over in GamesCom right now, and there'll probably be a little bit of news that trickles out, that we don't know already from Gamescom. But they did their weekly update. And out of their weekly update, they mention I don't want to say this incorrectly because I just called it the Claymore, but they talked about the Redrix's Claymore, which currently during season 3 is the most, what's the word I'm looking for? It is the weapon that is the hardest to get in the game right now. Matter of fact, only 8,750 players have it in the game right now, because it is a weapon that you get playing PvP competitive in the Crucible, and just the whole basically grind to get it is very tough, because you got to hit a certain Valor score. And the way that the Valor rank works right now in competitive, if you win, obviously your score goes up. But if you start to lose, your score goes down. So in other words, as a team, you have to go into competitive mode and you have to have some skill because you have to win as a team to be able to get this gun. And it is highly desirable gun, and the perks on it are amazing, as it should be. It is the thing that I've talked about so much over the past year of what Bungie needs to do. It is a gun that in its current form, I will never get because I am not good enough at PvP to get it, and I am okay with it. I want to see a weapon that is for the 1%. So when you see it out in the wild, you're like, holy crap, that dude must be really good at PvP because he got that gun. I like that. I like to see things like that. I also want to see that on the PvE side, maybe something tied into certain challenges within the raid, that if you see a gun that someone has from the raid, you're like, oh my God, he must be one of the best PvE, raiders in the game, the 1%. So instead of doing that for season 4, what Bungie has done is they've taken that gun and they've done a remix of it, and it's called the Redrix Broadsword. It's basically the same archetype of gun. It has some of the same perks, but then this one will have random rolls on it. And they've tied a quest line to it, and Bungie detailed this out, and I won't go too in depth talking about the whole quest line, but let's just put it this way. I can get this gun now because all it takes is a time investment to get it. Yes, it is a freaking grind. You will have earned it through this grind. But to me, it is more of you've earned it. If I see someone, I was like, well, he spent a lot of time playing PvP versus, oh, he had to be really good at PvP. That's the way I view it now. I think it's a mistake. And I've seen it split about 50-50. And I'm talking like some of the top community people in Destiny about 50-50, where, someone like True Vanguard loves it. And he's one of the best PvP players in the whole Destiny community. But then you see, some other people were like, I really wish they would have tied this to be more skill based. And I fall in that camp of wishing it was more skill based. I really like a lot of the changes that Bungie is bringing into Forsaken. This is one of the few that I actually disagree with. So I bring this up because I'm curious of your thoughts, just gaming in general, not necessarily Destiny. What are your thoughts on this, where in the competitive scene, should we have items that are seen as a badge of honor for your skill set? Or do we do the participation trophy thing where we're doing like with this gun, where, yeah, it's still going to be hard to get. It's still going to be a low percentage. But anyone that picks up a controller, if they decide in season 4, I want this gun, they can go play PvP every day until they get the gun. And it's not about are they good enough? It's about how much time you invest. So I'm just curious your thoughts.
I think that that's something that Bungie is doing to cater to both sides, right? You said you wanted something that was a 1%er type weapon, right? I think when we went to the Division 2 announcement thing, they said it was this is how you badge of honor yourself or something like that. This is how you peacock your achievements, right? Look at me. I got the dope Redrix Claymore. I am the man. Don't come at me. It's like when you put out your NBA top 5 with the don't at me response, right? It's like, I got it. Come fight me. I don't think it's a bad idea that you do this by allowing players who may not be skilled enough to achieve the Claymore, by giving them the broadsword. It's not going to be the same talent pool. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be as coveted. People will see the difference and say, oh, okay, so he got the broadsword. He didn't get the Claymore. Okay. I don't think that is a bad idea because you're not alienating a subset of your player base by doing this. You're giving them an opportunity to get something similar, but not the same. So I don't see it as bad. It's kind of like getting lucky with a roll on a gun and saying, okay, this is the one with the perfect roll. Whereas, okay, I could have gotten one part better, but I'll roll with this one. Okay. I'll be okay with this.
Yeah. And I see what you're saying, and I totally get it. I think the fact though that the Claymore you will no longer be able to get it after season 3. Yeah, anyone that was playing the game during season 3, that is your true badge of honor, because I got Claymore season 3, blah blah blah. Again, 8,700 people have gotten it throughout the entire population of the game. But I think, and especially with the issues that Bungie has had over the past year, look, we know a lot of people left. It's going to be Forsaken that, quote unquote, is going to get people to start playing the game again. I still would like to see that 1%er Claymore be there. You can still have the broadsword. Maybe broadsword's not a pulse rifle. Maybe it's an auto rifle, and you do these perks on it and you do the long grind. So that's something anyone can participate in. But then you still have the Claymore in season 4, and you have that specific competitive skill. Okay, here's the other thing to back up. They changed the way that Valor works in season 4. So now if you lose, you don't go backwards. So again, Valor just keeps going up the more you play. Obviously, it goes up quicker the more you win than if you lose, but it doesn't go backwards. So I think that's a mistake too. I really like that mechanic because, again, it tests your skill. You know, you have to win to have it to keep going up. If you lose, you are penalized for it. But since that's gone, like you said, I guess this is the compromise to it, that they just have this and that's how you get it. It's tied to that, because one of the steps is you have to reset your Valor rank 5 times. And it's not just, oh, I'm playing and it resets 5 times and that hits the check mark. No, when you get to that step of the quest, you now have to reset your Valor 5 times.
Wow. And
nothing else you did before, nothing that comes after that counts. That is one thing about the grind that I do respect, that it's not just a culmination of your everything that you're playing. No, when you get to a certain point in that quest, you have to do those specific steps at that time, and then you move on to the next thing. So that I'm good with. I a lot of people aren't going to get this gun. But like I said, anyone that is determined to get it will get it. All I'm saying as an overall thing, because I'm just using it as a discussion point, is I want to see more tests of your skill versus just tests of your patience to grind in the game. And I understand it's a tough balance for what Bungie has to do, because you're trying to please everyone at the same time. But I want to see things that you're not going to make everyone happy with. I want to see things where people will look at it and go, well, Jesus Christ, I'm never getting that because I'm just not good enough. I want to see that. So, you know, or I won't. Go ahead.
So is the Claymore, so you said the Claymore is a limited time availability on that. It's no longer available after season 3. What about the broadsword? Is the broadsword going to be is the broadsword no longer going to be available as well?
No. Or it's not available right now.
Okay.
That starts on September 4th. That's a season 4 weapon. So that's kind of what they're doing with the seasons.
Will that be limited availability as well?
As far as we know right now, it's season 4 only. We don't know if it'll continue past.
So people who maybe bypass season 4 for whatever reason, work, etc., personal life, etc., they won't be able to get access to it. So in a sense, I mean, maybe you're splitting. Maybe you're not going to be a 1%er. Maybe you'll be like a 15%er. You know, that's a 15% weapon.
I think so.
But I see how they're going. I see it. It's kind of like, you know, hardcore gamers, casuals, hardcores, casuals, and you're mixing a balance of availability of limited time weapons or limited time loot to your player base, so that way you're watering both sides of the garden, right? At that point, you're making everybody happy. I honestly don't think it's a bad idea, and I think it helps sate the needs of the hardcore players like yourself, True Vanguard, and those like that, while also enticing the maybe hard casuals, the ones who play the game enough to want to keep coming back just to try to get loot and play with their friends, but maybe not spend 20, 30 hours a week playing it. It gives them a reason to come back into it, to say, oh, I like the grind portion, I don't like the PvP. Let me go in and grind and get this new dope thing. And it makes everybody happy. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's smart on Bungie's part.
Yeah, I don't think it's terrible. I'm not saying that like, oh, you broke the game, it's ruined it. It was just, for me, it was a slight disappointment, because I thought with the introduction of the Claymore and the way they did it, that we were going to see more of these 1%er things. And I wanted that to then translate over to a 1% weapon from the raid and a 1% weapon with Gambit, on and on. Overall, and again, I'm not trying to make this too much Destiny Talk Radio. I'm excited for Forsaken because I think they learned their lesson with the launch of Destiny 2, where they lean way too much towards the casual audience and they kind of alienated their hardcore audience. And now I think they are leaning back the other way, where this is a time investment game. This is a game for the hardcore. This is something that you're going to want to log in and play every week because they're going to have things for the hardcore people to do in the end game. Now, it's all a lot of talk right now. We'll see when we get September 4th and how much they pay off on that. But I'm excited for the prospects of it. And I definitely see me reinvesting my time back into Destiny. I've even started playing again here in the last few weeks, just getting some of the check boxes of some of the things that I didn't do because I hadn't finished all the raids. I hadn't done all the prestige stuff. And I've been doing that recently. But yeah, I'm excited for it. We'll see what becomes of this Redrick's broadsword and how the community reacts to it when we actually start grinding for it. And yeah, looking forward to all that. So, cool. Anything else on that, or should we move on?
No, I think we can move on. It's funny, Destiny 2 just keeps coming back, and I have no desire to jump back into it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people share that sentiment. I really do. I think they burned a lot of people. Obviously, I have a closer relationship with that community, so I didn't walk away completely, but I took a break. I mean, obviously I really went deep dived into the Division and started playing that so I can understand that game, and I have a lot more respect for it now, and I'm really looking forward to the sequel to that. I swear to God, if Anthem would show me any damn thing, I would be into that. I love playing these type of games, so I want to see more than just Destiny be the ones that I play. And I can already tell the Division 2 has a big chance of taking a lot of my time, when that drops in March, because I like that world. I like the direction that they're going. I don't know if you want to jump into the Division stuff right now, but they did that 1.83 update. I think that's what it's called. And a lot of people don't like some of the changes that they made, like with the striker and all that. I know Marco Style had a video about it. I actually am okay with it. I think right now the game is in the Division is in a place that, and the Division 2 has already shown us from that demo, they're getting away from this. I don't like all the crazy healer stuff and all that. I want a more tactical game, especially in the head-to-head stuff when you go into the dark zone and you're doing the PvP thing. So I think for the long-term health of the game and to get more adoption into it, these are the changes they needed to make. And if anything, I think they're experimenting now with what will be law in the Division 2 by making these subtle changes, in the current game. So I don't know if you've been following it this week of what's been happening. I'm curious your thoughts.
I mean, there's a few things on there. I think they finally fixed the running in place glitch that has been running rampant, which we talked about a while back, where they actually pulled people out of development for Division 2 to fix this in Division 1. And we applauded them making, still putting effort and time into the Division 1, not just letting it saying, okay, we're done with the Division 1. Y'all can deal with it until this launches in March. But I mean, things like the support station master mod, where I know some people would drop it and blow it, and then it would give them like an overshield. Now it actually scales based on how long you've actually left that support station out, as opposed to just dropping it and blowing it. Now you have to leave it out until its duration and then blow it. Then you'll get the full effect of it. Things like Showstopper, where it would give you an issue, it would give you an opportunity to fire extra rounds. They fixed it. And then, like you said, the striker battle gear, bonus heal rates reduced. Now it only stacks +1 when you're playing in a dark zone, last stand, or skirmish. So you're not gonna make everybody happy. Obviously, Marco is probably one of the more vocal ones. But I think it's good. Making players constantly adjust and adapt. I think that's very important for things. You let people stay stagnant and stale for too long, and people start to fall off by doing things like this. Not just correcting, but tweaking and adjusting, which we'll probably see them readjust again before the actual launch of Division 2. I don't think it's a bad thing. I look forward to seeing, obviously, I think we all look forward to it. We were speaking to our good friend at Ubisoft. You still need to go through Underground, and you still need to go to get your survival shield, if I'm not mistaken. So do I. So if you are available, hopefully, let's say maybe tomorrow or Tuesday night, I'd like to get the three, or if we could pull somebody else out, get the four of us to run through that. I'm not going to be available today. So yeah, I think you still need to go through those. So I'd love to be able to.
No, I do.
You guys.
I do. Tuesday night sounds like the better night to do it.
Okay.
Maybe you'll stream it because I can't, Elgato. But that would be fun. That would be fun. We could stream it and people can watch it and participate in that whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to that. So let's announce that.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
All right, I want to thank our sponsor, RX Bar. That is RXBAR. They are a company that wants to build things the right way. And when we talk about build things the right way, we're talking about they make an amazing protein bar. You guys know I love to work out. I try to eat good, except when I had Popeyes earlier this week. But other than that, RX Bar makes the type of protein bar that I like to eat, that I feel comfortable putting into my diet routine. So again, they want to build things the right way. RX Bar believes in the power of transparency and lets the core ingredients do all the talking, with all of them listed right on the front of the packaging. You likely recognize RX Bar at shelf. They're the ones who have egg whites for protein, dates to bind, nuts for texture, and other delicious ingredients like unsweetened chocolate and real fruit and spices like sea salt or cinnamon. Turns out real food ingredients actually taste really good. They do. I'm telling you, I get that coconut with the peanut one, the peanut butter and the coconut, that bar, that's my favorite one. I love it. It's amazing. It tastes really good. And like I say, it's actually good for you. RX bars are gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free. Whether you like sweet or savory, chocolate or fruit flavors, there's definitely an RX bar for you. No artificial colors, flavors, preservatives, or fillers. RX bars are great for a number of occasions. Again, like breakfast on the go, quick snack at the office. You can just throw it in your bag. If you plane ride, throw it in your backpack. You going on a bike ride, have it like something right after the gym if you're trying to refuel. So again, I'm a big fan of that coconut and peanut butter one, but they also have like the honey, cinnamon, peanut butter, just regular peanut butter, the vanilla almond butter, and they also have like a mixed berry one as well. They're all really good and delicious. So again, GTR people, here you go. For 25% off your first order, visit rxbar.com/GTR and enter that promo code GTR at checkout. Again, for 25% off your first order, visit rxbar.com/GTR and enter that promo code GTR at checkout. Again, it's rxbar.com. Hey, being a guy that works out all the time, I love this protein bar. Go check them out today.
This is Gamertag Radio. Voicemail at 786-2737-GTR.
All right, from all the way from Columbus to the world, this is Danny, aka Godfrey, and I'm here with our committee members that I invited them to the Call of Duty World League Championship, and this is their first time experiencing this. So, guys, you want to introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Hey, what's up, GTR family? This is Will. My gamer tag's Mending Mercy.
All right.
Just here with Danny here at the Call of Duty World League, having a really great time. I'm just excited to be here. It's been an amazing experience.
Cool. And
what's going on? It's Hatred Live. I've been on the podcast before.
yes,
E3 last year.
Yes,
but yeah, I'm here. It's amazing.
All right, cool. And also mention your Twitch.
Yeah.
Podcast.
I also have a a group channel called For All Mankind. We do a podcast. We're everywhere now.
Cool.
YouTube, Spotify, iTunes.
See, they're making moves.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, we're on Google Play too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on like everywhere.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And we also have one more.
Hey, this is Matthew, aka Arctic Warlocks Twitch mod for Gamertag Radio. Been here with Danny and Trey and Will the whole time, and it's been a total blast to experience this.
Yeah, and this is you guys are all live here locally in Columbus, so let's go with you, Arctic. For you, that you hardly see like events like this here locally. How's going to an event like this for you for the first time?
Yeah, I usually watch things on Twitch and YouTube all the time, and when Rainbow Six, Call of Duty, PUBG, Overwatch, I usually watch it on Twitch and go into the arena, seeing the fans with all their team jerseys, and just it's an honor to be here because
See, he's speechless. He doesn't know what to say.
I'm man a few words here.
It's so good. Is it good? All right, so Will, for you, man. Also, you've been to like MOG events in the past?
Yeah. So this is on a whole nother scale. I've been to a couple MLG events here in Columbus for the Halo Championship. Those arenas only hold about 200 to 300 spectators. So, going from 200 to 300 at the MLG arena to thousands at the nationwide arena here, it's night and day. The energy, the lights, the flash, the flare, it's on like 10 times that level. Right? The production, yeah. So everything is just boom in your face, and it's like amazing.
Yeah, and one thing, Trey, I know one thing that you mentioned was that you're happy they have an event like this over here because. Yeah. You would like to see more gaming events locally here in Columbus. Why is that?
I just feel like most of them are always either like East Coast, like New York, like bigger cities, or you'll get more like West Coast. I mean, of course, like California. I know like Evo in Vegas, but seeing stuff here where I can actually attend to is it's awesome. Like it's a rare occasion, and when it does happen, it's awesome. And hopefully people start to come here more. They see like we have a huge following for all these games, and it'd be nice to have more events out here.
Yeah, I know this is your first day coming here because the other 2 days you were busy, you couldn't attend and stuff. Was there any favorite moments, any favorite matches that you were like, man, this is dope, this is hot?
The entire time, like at first I was like, it's Call of Duty, I get it, but now that I actually got to sit down and like see the professional players, I'm like, okay, this is legit. I can get into this for sure. Yeah. And then when it came down to the actual finals, it was awesome. Like I was like, yo, TK. Like my voice is super deep right now because I'm like I was screaming. Yeah. Oh my gosh, but that's cool. Yeah,
that's really cool. I know there was another match before that. What was it that had like 41 kills in one? It was Kenny.
Yeah. Oh,
and you were screaming the whole time,
losing it.
Yeah, you were. Oh my god, that's crazy. That was pretty dope to see that live.
Oh my gosh.
But it's different, right? Watching it live than watching it on Twitch.
You're at home and you could be screaming at the top of your lungs. You got your roommates or your parents or whatever yelling at you. But when you're here live, you got a bunch of other people screaming with you. It's hype, man. Yeah. You live and breathe it here. So,
what about you, Will? Any favorite moments? It doesn't have to be only today, but
as far as game wise, it was Friday night. Luminosity was going into the losers bracket against Rise Nation, and they did a reverse sweep, and that pretty much carried them through the losers bracket, and they gained like a ton of momentum, and they were just knocking out teams left and right. So that was one of the moments where like everything clicked here, and the arena was just electric. Yeah, that reverse sweep that early on in the bracket just gave them momentum to keep pushing through.
That's cool. And Arctic, Matthew,
what's up?
Any favorite moments for you?
I've got so many throughout the 3 days. Lightning and Pandas with Royalty going off on the sniper shots. Like he had like 3 in a row.
But you were cheering for them. You were going for them at first?
Oh yeah. I showed my kids, Grace and Zachary, the list of players and teams, and Lightning Pandas, they love pandas, so they were all about them the whole time.
For them, going all the way.
Yeah.
So wait, when they got knocked out, was it the second day, first day?
It was the second day they got knocked out, but the first day they were going off.
Okay.
But I was rooting for E United because they had a set of twins on there, and I'm a twin as well, so we got to stick together
cool.
there.
And honestly, they had a couple of games like early on, and today was the day that they got knocked out, man. But I was rooting for them too, man. They were playing really good. I think they had multiple matches that it was 3-0.
Yeah,
back to back.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I mean, Saturday was the day with the backstage access that you provided us.
Yeah.
And there's no other.
For the listeners that don't know, we'll talk about that, like the backstage.
Talk about that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Danny cares so much about his audience and goes all the way to bring them into his world, and getting invited to go to Call of Duty and World League Championships was just good enough for me. So, but the access for the 3 days was awesome. But Danny had a surprise for us.
Yeah.
He always had surprises for us, but Paris is on the sidelines there.
Yeah.
Yep. We were looking through backstage, and they had their media set up with the Twitch, and there's like 4 tables there, and one station had like a bunch of moderators, and the other one had a large world map and hotspots of where people were watching.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
It was pretty awesome.
But it's cool how they have teams for everything. Team for like broadcasting, team for the lighting, for everything.
Yeah,
so it's legit. It's not because that's the thing. I brought in also a couple friend of mine that they live here in, well, not Columbus, but live in Cleveland,
Cincinnati.
Yeah, and they're not into gaming at all. But I brought them here because I think a lot of people from the outside that they never had the opportunity to see this live. I brought them in and I had to explain to them like what was going on. They were so impressed. They were like, wow, this is legit. This is no joke. And I'm like, dude, it's a lot of people that watch this. Forget about people watching live. There's other people that don't have the time that they probably watch it video on demand. You also got to count those people, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's they was super impressed. Super impressed. What about you? Any surprises? Anything that got you? Like
what was really cool? I think it was yesterday, which was Saturday. We got to meet some of the players from Luminosity.
Yes.
We got to go backstage after seeing all like the production and all the crews. They were running around, making sure everything is fine. We took some time backstage and met some of the Activision employees, talked to them, and it was just getting a well-rounded view of backstage, meeting the players, shaking their hand, and just after seeing them on the stage, seeing them in the back, kind of seeing how they progress through the tournament and what they do backstage it was really cool, like really eye-opening. It was really dope.
That's cool, man. And Trey, had the big one, man. He got a free Astros, man.
That was it was huge.
That's really huge.
Yeah, I was screaming top of my lungs, and then Dana was like, over here, this guy. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. So which one is it that you have? Astro what?
It's the A40 TR Star. I don't even know. TRS. Yeah, these are nice. There's a gold. I mean, I was just talking with Will. I was like, I really need to get a preamp for my stream because I want to be able to like stream on my PS4 and still be able to hear the game, talk to people,
and you can mix right there with the
and now
volume and everything.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, like one thing I was doing was looking at your guys' reaction the whole time when there was like special moments or and so on. There was a couple of times that you guys were like just like bugged out the whole time, like, yo, I can't believe this is going on. Then I think it was just today I got the opportunity to get you guys now to sit on the floor where everybody else they were at. I think that's the prestige level, right? Because the goal is I really wanted you guys to get that experience, because I feel that from the outside you just watch the video and you're like, oh, okay, whatever, but there's nothing like being part at an event, you know what I'm saying? Like, and getting together with other gamers that are into the same exact thing as you, and at the same time, you guys will learn about the sport. Learn about the teams, the players. Like I think we were just standing, and we got to see Team Caliber still sitting down when they lost. They won second place, but they were not getting up. And who was it that said it first? I think one of you guys said it first, like, oh man, look, they're not even getting up.
Yeah.
So that was you, Matthew. See, so you will see the good things. You also see, some disappointing moments, during the sport, But yeah, go ahead. You were gonna say something?
Yeah, and one of the things that I would like to mention, just for just gamers in general, is that none of us three are huge Call of Duty fans.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it, what's cool about it is, as a gamer, if you have events that come to your town, and you're like, oh, I'm not a fan of that game. For one, as gamers, we want to support those events because it helps build the gaming community as a whole. But when you're here, you get emotionally invested in the storylines, the lights and the action and the people screaming. It's like every match was like, who you going for? Who you going for? Who you want to win? You're nothing matters. You're clued in to those matches, and you're screaming like we all probably have rough voices after all this screaming all day. But like I was saying, I encourage everyone, if you have events, go out and support them, because it helps the gaming community as a whole. And we've all had a blast. I mean, we'll probably be talking about this afterwards, just because we're local. Weeks. We're local now. We met each other face to face, so just this has helped build our relationships here locally, and I'm pretty sure we'll probably be seeing each other soon.
That's cool, man. And you, Matthew, you want to say anything about that, or you go? Oh, well, actually, I want to ask you guys this question. Now that some of you guys were fans of Call of Duty, some of you probably casually will play here and there, right? Do you see yourself playing a little bit more now because of getting that experience, Matthew?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I was looking into the tournament here, I didn't know how the scenario went between maps, what all the points were and what they had to go to and all that stuff. And after these 3 days, I totally am hooked on it now. I mean, I'll definitely watch every single championship and open that they have. But as far as the game, personally myself, I'm way on the low leaderboard, so I'm not too great on it. But I mean, I would definitely give it a try and start playing more.
Cool. And plus, probably play some zombies with me and
zombies,
Blackout, right?
game
for the next one. What about you, Will?
Oh yeah, I kind of second what Matthew said. I learned a lot about the game types, the map flows, even little pinch points, and certain areas where you could see constantly they were like hiding and protecting and things like that. But just after playing the Black Ops 4 beta and just being here, I'm definitely going to be playing some Call of Duty in the future, and that's another benefit to coming to an event that you're like, you get that you get energized to experience more of it. So I think it's great all around.
That's cool.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Will and Matt here. It's like I'm not the biggest fan of Call of Duty, but now that I've actually seen it and I'm like halfway lost my voice.
Hype the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I live on hype. But after experiencing it and like learning, like I didn't even know Hardpoint was even a game type until now. And then after watching it and like learning about it, and like Will was saying, like learning like different techniques and stuff like that, like I'm so excited for Black Ops 4 now.
Now let's talk about the teams. So I know you've been here today. You guys been here for all 3 days. So now that you got to see some of the teams and you heard about them, do you see yourself investing more on, man, I want to learn more about a certain team?
Oh yeah,
because man, for the next season I want to like cheat them from the beginning. You see yourself doing that? And why?
Oh, I mean, I'm team I forgot the name already.
Wait, Caliber?
Yeah, I'm team Caliber already.
TK?
Kenny.
TK?
Yeah, I'm getting me a Kenny jersey.
Yeah. And why? What was it that got your attention from that team?
Well, I mean, for me, I always like to follow like players of color because I don't see that a whole lot. I mean, it's mainly like the fighting game community. There's like a lot of people of color, but seeing like other people in like shooting games or even like World of Warcraft and stuff like that, it's huge. It's huge for me. So like seeing a player of color, I mean, getting in the second place team, the reverse sweep, that's awesome.
Yeah, cool.
And I mean, like his whole team was awesome, but yeah, Kenny just definitely stuck out to me. He was a beast.
What about you, Will?
Yeah, I second what Trey said as well. But what's also cool is during the casting, we found out that that's Kenny's rookie season. So there was one match where he had like 40 to 42 kills, and he was carrying his team. You know, they were vibing off of him and pushing. But also, I'm a Halo kid at heart, so you know, I was rooting for all the ex-Halo players that used to play. So if I catch wind of a Halo guy, I gotta hold up the Halo flag.
And you were the one that was telling me, that Halo cats. That's good.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what I do. Just cheer for the Halo guys and go Kenny, Team Caliber.
All right, what about you, Matthew?
I'm just a fan of the esports teams there. So, I mean, the ones that I was rooting for, I follow on Twitter now, and even several players that we've seen. And I'm sure that I'm going to be following people and keeping up with it. I'm not going to follow and then unfollow.
Yeah,
but
that's cool.
It's awesome.
Awesome, man. What's the thoughts hearing the commentary live during the event? Your thoughts about that, man? Because I know you've been to the Overwatch one and other events and stuff, but in an arena where you hear the commentary, and also we went to the side to I think it was for E United. They were playing versus FaZe, I think it was. You hear it, that's like a different, to me it was like a different experience there, but the main stage was where it's at, man. Your thoughts about commentary, all that?
Yeah, the commentary was dope. Just like I was talking about Kenny from Team Caliber. You know, you get bits and pieces, and you learn about the players. Yeah. And another thing is, like, as far as like learning about the maps and things like that, you kind of get an inside look into the player's mind, and you know, you'll see them, you know, jiggle, peeking a certain corner, and you know, the commentators will say, well, this is the choke point. This is the place where they have to hold because they're gonna be pushing down this lane, or you know, all of this stuff. So it helps tell that story, and it pushes those narratives down as, you know, match for match, and it helps you understand as a player game types, but it also gives you that storyline, and so it just, and that just drives you for the emotion. You just that's why our voices are hoarse now, because those emotions get up, and it just drives you to start screaming and going crazy.
All right, you?
Yeah, like he was saying, the commentary, it helps you learn about the game. Like today about Hardpoint, I knew nothing about it. I didn't know how it worked, and now I know how it works, and I'm all about it.
Yeah.
But like how you're saying that the Overwatch League, I mean, it's huge. Like if you didn't have good commentary, it would just ruin the experience.
It is important, because that's part of the, to me, it's part of the experience.
Right.
You know, so if you have somebody that's really hype, they're gonna hype you up. It's like in hip hop.
It's infectious, man.
It's like you have the MC that moves the crowd.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same. It's like you know. Now, what is your favorite mode?
My favorite mode?
Yeah. Like every time they have it competing live in the main stage, like in the main stage, like what was it like? Oh, I like this mode. This is good. Okay, this is gonna be interesting right here. Watching.
I think Search and Destroy was really cool. Just because it's like, you know, you get down to those last two people.
One life, that's it.
Or like, one life and it's done.
Yeah.
But it's probably the most intense out of all of them that we saw today.
Right.
But,
you?
Yeah, I agree with Trey. Search and Destroy was my favorite one, especially because you have to get 6 rounds to win that whole match. And it feels so long. Like you get one life, but the pressure, level of concentration, and the consequences for making one mistake.
And if they're close,
you can't respawn.
And if they're close, the match will last even longer.
Exactly. You can't respawn. You get one chance per round, and you have to get 6 of them total. So it gets insane.
Yeah. What about you, Matthew? You like Search and Destroy, or you like other modes?
I like Search and Destroy, but Capture the Flag is where team play is paramount. You got people rushing from one side.
Yes.
You've got to wait until your team comes to help you out and take over their flag. And just the communication is really key to, oh man, they got the flag, they're running towards the west or what have you. You got to take them out before they get to your area. And the two halves are a nice balance to where, you know, that makes and breaks your match, because that's the middle of the game there. And that's the tipping point if you can rally against that.
Yeah, the part that I really liked too, because I really wanted you guys to also hear it live, is when the commentary will be like, all right, we're going to play, let's see what they're saying.
Oh, yeah.
And they play sometimes I couldn't even understand a word what they were saying because the team
They were talking so fast.
They were talking so fast, but they're so used to that, you know. So
they're in their own language going on in between that, and it's nice that they break it in for a new viewer to actually hear that, because you have no idea when you're playing with your friends. You're like, hey, there's this guy over here. Well, and they're pretty quick on it.
There was one part, I think it was first round, I think, when it was Team Caliber versus Evil Geniuses, and then they play the team listening to Team Caliber communicating to each other, and you could tell they were like quiet. They were not really saying, they were in the zone, but remember, they were losing, and this is before they had like 2-0 the other team and stuff. But how was that for you? Like hearing, like, man, compared to the other teams, you hear them super live, and Team Caliber at first when they showed it, they were like kind of quiet.
Yeah, it was definitely strange because like when they cut into Evil Genius, they're like, guy on the left, over here, duck, guy over here, barn, statue, and then you hear Caliber and they're like, hey, there's a guy over there.
It was
not hey, there's a guy over there. It was just like statue.
Yeah,
left ammo. It's strange.
It was strange, but it was the confidence. It went down.
Yeah.
You know, you could tell that they knew they were not doing good. But something happened after that match when it was 2-0. They completely did a 180. And just flipped the whole thing, man.
Yeah, I think them staying calm like that definitely helped them out, because if you have two of your other players that are like, you know, oh my god, over here, it's gonna like make you nervous. Because I know that. I mean, I play Overwatch, I play other games, and hearing that from other players, I'm like, yeah, can you calm down, please? It's making my gameplay bad.
Now, my question to you guys, and because you know, you said that you were going for Lightning Pandas the whole time. What was it that? Okay, they lost, and you were like, damn, I need to support another team, man, because my team is out. Why was it that you went and support that team once they went out?
The Lightning Pandas?
Once they were out, you had to support. You know.
Yeah, once they were out, I told my kids I moved on to some other teams. But
I moved on.
I moved on. But I mean, just like FaZe and Luminosity both got knocked out real quick.
So you were rooting for them too?
I was rooting for Luminosity and FaZe,
okay.
and E United. But I'm new, so I had to grab 4
you were
of them.
still trying to figure it out, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
But just the way that FaZe and Luminosity just destroyed the whole losers bracket until today was amazing, and that kept me real pumped that they had a chance.
Well, what about you, man? Because you probably jump a couple teams here and there, right? That got knocked out.
Yeah, the thing about the event, you always want to have a fish in the barrel or a horse in the race.
Yeah.
So, but like I said before, I was going for it's kind of like you're just bandwagon jumping. Just to stay in the game and stay excited.
Hold on. Was it the crowd that influenced you to go for that team? Wait, Matthew was. Wait.
Okay, there was. Yeah. It's kind of like that. Like I remember being at a WWE event, and then you see like the crowd favorite, like they don't like this one guy, and you're just like, okay, I don't like him either.
Yeah. So the crowd influence.
The crowd influence is definitely important because you kind of want to feel a part of it. So you start raging when they rage and cheer when they cheer. So for sure.
Matthew, you were gonna say something about
I was looking for some gear Friday, and I didn't know who to pick, and E United was what I wanted to buy Saturday. I told you guys.
Yeah.
And I went to the booth, and all the merch was gone for them, and everyone was wearing it. And I was
like, oh man, I want to be down too.
Yeah, and just walking by everyone with the same jerseys on, I was like, man, that could have been me. But I think the crowd favored them because their team was the most hype after every single match they won. They won like 3 games, 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, that's
all right. Here's my last question. My last question. For someone that's listening to this, overall, just the experience, what you want to say, how you want to end the show?
As a gamer, it's good for us to support events. The experience here was amazing. Even though Danny hooked us up, we got merch here and there. We got VIP access in certain areas. We seen a lot of the stuff that the average person that comes in attendance is not going to be able to see. That was great, right? But just the general experience is something that I feel like all gamers should come out if there's something local or just a few hours away. I think it is good. It'll help build up the community. It'll give you a different perspective on just different games. But I would say like the experience has been amazing. And if you have events locally, just support for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, I agree with Will. If there's anything remotely close to you, attend it. You know what I mean? It shows the companies that run these that people are actually interested in it, and it shows the players that are actually doing this for everybody that they have fans and they love that you love to watch, and it helps them play better. I don't know.
There you go.
It's just yeah. Support the gaming community. It's just the main thing about it. Just support it.
That's cool.
It's huge. It's esports. It's growing.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Matthew?
I love it.
Yeah, I echo what Trey and Will said, but for the fan that had no clue what's going on, walking into the arena, they had the Black Ops 4 beta running on multiple PCs. So there was like a huge line for that. They had Scuff Gaming controllers there. You can see all the different kinds and get a feel for them. G Fuel was there handing out samples. You buy a $5 drink cup, and you can just walk in and when you're throughout the day, just fill up your cup. All the different players. Astro headsets were there, where you could hear the quality between their different products. Optic Gaming was there with the booth doing VR.
You went there a couple times?
I didn't get the chance to go there. There was always a big line there, so I was like, I'll
and
try
actually,
it next time.
hold on. Actually, before you mention anything else, I was very surprised Optic got kicked out really early. Were you surprised, Matthew? Because you were probably rooting for them at first, right?
I didn't have an Optic bias at all. I know that's what the mainstream goes to.
They have a huge following.
I understand. Yeah, it's huge. Being new, you don't know.
Yeah.
But and then PlayStation Plus had a swag bag for you to use. And also gave you access to the first in line for the beta, as well as sign autographs from the players. And then
that was cool.
The MLG booth with all the pro gaming merch, with hoodies, T-shirts, hats, everything there. So there's a ton to do outside the concourse, other than just sitting and watching.
Yeah, I think that's great. If maybe you don't like a team, your favorite team is taking a break, you go outside and play the game, check out the booths and stuff, right? And just interact with other people.
Yeah, and Will and I were sitting down at the main stage one time, and the second side stage wasn't going on, so we were just hanging out. And then all of a sudden, I looked at the floor, and the seats were a little sparse. And then I noticed that the second stage had people playing, and we just hopped up, went over to the other place, and watched another game.
All right, cool, man. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up, man. I just want to say, guys, thank you for coming. It was cool seeing your reaction through the whole week, man. The whole weekend, I mean. So hopefully we could do this again in the future, man. 'Cause this is my first time doing this, because I feel like it's good to. We get access all the time, but I really wanted to try something new. Like, why not invite our listeners to get that experience and talk about it on a podcast? This is so you guys are the world premiere, exclusive. Yeah, and at the same time, we have the media here. They're gonna interview the players and so on. But I feel like I wanted to try something totally new.
Yeah.
And I think it worked out, man. It was good. Yeah, success, right?
Shout outs to you, man, because I wouldn't be able to do something like this. I would be, I'd be in the crowd, but I wouldn't be able to be, meeting players or, talking to the players or whatever.
Yeah.
Getting some swag. But yeah. Shout outs to you, man, for sure.
Thanks. You guys want to mention your Twitter accounts, social media?
I'm HeyTrey, or at HeyTrey Live, _live, and at For All Mankind on everything. Twitch, YouTube, you name it.
All right. Will?
Yep. And mine, my Twitter account is at Mending Mercy, MENDING Mercy. You'll find me on there talking about Halo and Fortnite. Yeah. So if you like those, hit me up.
All right.
And mine is Arctic Warlock, Arctic_Warlock. The Warlock's on Twitter. And I want to say thank you to Activision, Call of Duty, and the PR team for getting us access into the event.
Yeah, awesome, man. All right, thanks a lot, guys.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
Speaking of the streaming thing, it's funny, and I'll just say this: I have a new laptop that is pretty beefy, and I'm starting to think now because is it AverMedia? Is that how you say their names?
Yes.
They're basically the competitor. Mm-hmm. They have a portable capture card, a USB based capture card that also does 4K, that has the bypass. I'm almost thinking I want to get it, because here's my thought. Right now with my PC, if I play like the Division or whatever, I like to play it in 4K. I like to take full advantage of my 1080 Ti. But if I stream, I can't. I got to lower the resolution. I got to pull it down, because obviously it's fighting, for resources on my PC, since I don't have a second PC. But I'm thinking, now I have this laptop, I could easily set it up as a streaming thing. I just need to get a USB 3 capture card. I may have to look into the AverMedia capture card. I may, while we're finishing up the show, I might look it up, get the model number so people know what I'm talking about. But that's a thought, because I would definitely like to start streaming more PC games.
Yeah, it's the Live Gamer Ultra GC553. That's the one that does 4K 60 with HDR pass-through.
So and that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, and you could do it's got high refresh rate pass through at full HD up to 240 hertz. So if you've got a 120 or 240 hertz monitor, you're going to catch all those. You're going to catch all the hertzes. And it comes with Power Director 15, so you could do video editing with it as well. So that's what I'm saying. It's definitely a competitor. I mean, it's something to look at for sure. It's only $245 for the USB 3.1 version of it. The 3.0 edition doesn't give you, it gives you the 4K pass through, but not HDR, and it uses USB 3.0. So,
and that's fine. That's fine. I don't need the HDR pass through. I mean, it's funny. I mean, I do HDR now and stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old, but I don't really see that much of a difference. Enough for me to care. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's your option. I mean, and that's only 180, but I think this only does the recording at 1080 60. It'll pass through 4K, but you'll only record or stream at 1080. So yeah, you're gonna want
and that's what I'm saying. I'm looking at this from a pure streaming standpoint. If I'm going to capture, I mean, I already got the Elgato in the thing. That's fine. I can capture a 4K using that. I'm just thinking of something that's going to give me the 4K pass through and allow me to actually play my PC games at 4K.
Yeah. So that's the Gamer Ultra GC553.
Yeah. So definitely an option to think of. But speaking of, PC and GPUs and all that, so it's coming, Pete. NVIDIA 2080. I think it's
saw that.
Is it Monday? Is that press conference Monday or Tuesday or whenever it is?
Yeah, I got something from NVIDIA about that. Yeah.
It'll be interesting, and I know it does the ray tracing. I think that's kind of one of the big things, but I'm just curious, just on the benchmarks, just how much beefier. I think they've already said 70% more powerful than a 1080, and they're thinking 20 to 30% more powerful than a 1080 Ti. So this thing, whatever this 2080 is going to be, I'm scared to see what the price is, but as far as if you're into 4K gaming, I mean, this thing is going to do 4K 60 with ease. I mean, the fact that the 1080 Ti can pretty much do it now, the 2080 is just, it's not even going to break a sweat hitting over 60 frames at 4K. So if you're in the market for a GPU and you got the cheddar to actually buy one, because I think you need to go ahead and set at least, at a minimum, $750 aside. At least, probably closer to $800 to get this thing. And we're just talking the bare bones one. We ain't talking about one coming from EVGA or, any of the other third party card makers. But it's going to cost a pretty penny. But if you're into power, and like I said, you're really trying to do things in 4K, and even from a video editing standpoint, this thing should just fly. Obviously, you got to have the CPU to go with it, but things should just fly as far as even doing 4K video editing as well. So I'm not going to get it. Hey, as I say this today, I'm not going to get it. Who knows what I'll say in 6 months. But as it stands today, I'm not going to get it. My plan is to wait until 2020 to build my next PC. So we're probably looking at whatever the TI version of it is by the time I'm actually thinking about getting one, or, building a PC and to get one. So exciting times if you're into building PCs and all that. It's always great to see more power when it comes to the GPUs and the CPUs, because AMD just dropped a new CPU as well, didn't they? A new Ryzen. Am I tripping on that?
I don't follow Ryzen as often or as much, so I may not have seen it. But in looking at the stat comparisons between, like, let's say a 1080 Ti and the 2080 Ti, you're increasing your power consumption by an additional 35 watts. So yeah, like you said, you're gonna need a bigger power supply if you're not already. You're getting 800 more CUDA cores. Your memory interface is the same. Your memory is itself. It's going to be using GDDR6 as opposed to GDDR5. But the PNY website, which already had some information, I don't know if it's got pulled already, but they were talking $899 to $1,000 for a 1080 or for a 2080 Ti. So that's considering the current Ti is, I mean, they came back down, thank God, but they're still at around $700.
Yeah.
Is that $300 markup worth the 18 to 20% increase in performance?
I see, and that's where I'm like, no, I have no plans to get it, because for right now, I'm not going to take advantage of it. There's nothing I'm really going to take advantage of. The games that I want to play right now, I'm gonna be able to play them in 4K. I'm going to play them at a pretty decent frame rate. So, I mean, here's the thing. Here's where I think that 2080 kicks in. When these monitors, when the prices drop on these 4K monitors that can do 144 hertz, I can't even say it. But when, the high frame rate monitors come down at 4K,
right,
that's when you're going to want to start looking at the 2080s of the world in that sense, because now you're doing that high refresh rate on your monitors, and you're not just stuck at a 4K 60 monitor. You're doing a 4K 100, 120, 144 monitor, which right now, trying to get one of those things, like I think the 27-inch model from Acer, and that thing like $2,000, something crazy like that.
No, the Predator,
it's nuts. I mean, I wouldn't spend that amount of coin on that, not right now, but in a few years. Let's put it this way, because this has been my plan all along. When Cyberpunk drops, that's when I'm building a new PC. So that's when I expect 2080 Ti. These monitor prices are going to drop, new CPU, just everything. I'm basically going to budget in my head between $2,000 and $2,500 and just build a new PC probably mid 2020. That's my goal. That's when I'm thinking, that'll be the time. I mean, this PC that I built, God, did I originally build this thing in 2015? I think I originally built it in 2015, and I've obviously upgraded the GPU over the years. I think I started off with a 980. That was the first GPU I had, and I've literally just stepped up every time. I think I skipped the 980 Ti. Yeah, I skipped the 980 Ti, went from the 980 to the 1080. Obviously, I'm on 1080 Ti right now, but my CPU is an i7 4790K. It's still good enough. Trust me, I'm not complaining. I'm fine. So I don't see a need to build a PC right now, but I think give me 2 more years, Cyberpunk comes out, I'll be there. It'll be time at that point to build a new one, and I'll just get whatever the latest, greatest GPU is at that time and just go from there.
Are you going to be able to play the Division 2 with the 4790?
Yeah, why not? What's wrong with that? You mean, It's not, that game's not highly CPU based.
Okay, I'm looking at i5 2400 minimum. That's for the minimum requirements, though.
Yeah.
Recommended i7 3770. So yeah, you're just at it. You're right above it. So yeah, you should be fine.
Okay. I'm fine. Don't question me.
Don't come test me by.
Look. Because if my CPU wasn't right, guess who's getting a new CPU? Me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't come test me by.
Nah. No, 4790K is still fine. I mean, for all these modern games. I mean, like if you took a game like Assassin's Creed Unity, I think as an example, which was just such a CPU hog, even though I have a 1080 Ti, I would probably struggle a little bit, to keep a consistent frame rate. But most of these games that are coming out now are more GPU dependent than they are CPU dependent. So yeah, I don't think I have an issue or anything to worry about. What CPU do you have, by the way? I don't even know.
i7 7700K.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to be fine and that's the last of the 1151s, so I'm not going to be able to do it. Next time I switch, it's going to, because I think after that series, ever since Intel went with the 8700 series or 8800 series, now there's a special pin, so I can't go back revisions or builds on motherboards. I have to stay on the current gen or else it's not going to work, so...
Right. And that's just part of building a CPU or PC, excuse me, for anyone that's out there listening. I mean, you do hit a certain point, with the motherboard that you have and all that you basically top out. I'm pretty sure the motherboard I have, I could go up a little higher on the CPU still, but I'm not going to hit any of these current modern CPUs. I'd have to completely tear up my motherboard. I'd have to start all that over from scratch. And I'm like, is all that even worth it? Right now, it's not worth it. I'm fine where I am right now. Like I said, when my CPU becomes a bottleneck, because it will happen in the next couple of years. And like I said, I'm expecting it like around Cyberpunk time. I'm thinking by the time we get 2020, my CPU is going to be too outdated. Then I'm going to need to build a PC. So like what I've literally been doing is I've slowly but surely, I've just been stashing a little bit of cash, You know what I'm saying? Because look. Brock's been married a long time. I know the game. It's like, if I have the money saved, you can't say nothing. I do what I want. If I don't,
bills. I'll take care of my kids.
If I don't, exactly. If I don't, then I need the PowerPoint and I need explanations with charts, and I'm pointing and they're like, look here, and I won't get the sandwich from Popeyes on Fridays like I used to. I got to do all that stuff. So I have to do that.
Mr. Paris Lilly. Speaking of the Popeyes, you and I had a little tit for tat on Twitter yesterday. How was your dining experience at Popeyes yesterday?
Oh, it was great because I never eat there. I don't think I've had Popeyes in like 6 months. So, it was great. It was funny. I honestly blame Twitter, because Slick Deals retweeted that if you downloaded the Popeye mobile app, they had these coupons on there. And then saw the coupons. They had the one family one that was for $22.99. You could get the 14-piece mix with 7 biscuits and 2 large size. And I looked at Trey, and Trey looked at me, and we were like, we're going to Popeyes. So we went to Popeyes, and we got it, and it was glorious. We had the chicken and the buttery biscuits. I didn't even eat the sides. I don't even care about the sides. I just ate the chicken and the biscuits, and I got the itis, and I took a nap, and then I woke up, and it was such a great day yesterday. But you can only do that like once or twice a year. You can't do that all the time. It's terrible for you.
I'm glad you got that out of your system, so now you can go. Yeah. The bulk season is over now for you.
No, actually, bulk season is starting. Summer's over.
That's true.
Speaking of the diet and all that, I've actually had a pretty crappy year. Like, I go to the gym consistently. I never stop. It's because I always say it's a diet, right? It's your diet. I was kind of stressed out early in the year with the job and all that, and I let my diet slip. At least for me, it slipped. But then, last few weeks, I've gotten everything back into where I've been fasting and just doing my meal prep like I normally do, and watching the sugar and all that good stuff. But I had about a good right before E3. Like for me, and I know people probably at E3 probably think this is ridiculous, but for me at E3, I felt puffy. For me, I was puffy, but I'm good now. But yeah, I'm not going to quote unquote start bulking now, but yeah, during the winter, that's when I try not to be as lean as I normally am. That's the formula. So I'm doing that in a couple weeks.
I finally went back to the gym. It had been a minute, but I had a couple of injuries in between that stopped me, and I lost the mojo for it. So I'm glad that I finally got it back, and I'm happy. So.
Good. That is good. And, I always joke with you and give you grief about it, but you do what works for you.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
So, all right. So this actually is going to wind up being a long one since I know Danny's going to have audio. So we probably should wrap this up. But before we do, I know we had some fan mail. All right. And yeah, let's just go ahead and go into that right now.
Fan mail at gamertagradio.com.
You want to read it or you want me to read it?
I got it.
Okay.
So this is from Leandro. Hope I'm saying that name correctly. And he says, "Hi, GTR. First, I want to let you know I love the show." Uh-oh. When they start that way, I was like, uh-oh. Everybody's been yelling at us lately. "It's my official soundtrack that I listen to while I cook. So thanks for that. I do have a question, though." Okay, good. He just has a question. "For the last several generations, Nintendo has released consoles that haven't been direct competition to the other consoles of a given generation in terms of powerful hardware or common features, like playing DVDs, and instead going for innovative controls, portability, etc. My question is, do you think that Nintendo should ever try to return to building powerful consoles to compete with Sony/Microsoft, or should it continue to stay in its own lane and do its own thing? And to be fair and frank, for the most part, staying in their own lane and doing their own thing has worked out for them pretty well. Keep up the awesome work, folks." So you answered your own question. Yep, stay in your own freaking lane because it's working for them. I see no reason that Nintendo should waste the R&D trying to build the God hardware that can do all the 4K bells and whistles and all this crazy stuff. What they've done with the Switch is exactly what Nintendo does best. They make a piece of hardware that no one else is doing. It may not be the most powerful thing on the market, but that isn't what makes games great. What makes games great is being innovative. And Nintendo, as I've said many times, is the best developer in the world, period, point blank, in a discussion. It's not even a debate, in my opinion. So yeah, do the Switch. And look at what's happening with the Switch right now. The Switch has sold far beyond expectations. And what are we seeing? We're seeing all the third-party publishers. They're starting to port all their games over to it. Bethesda obviously has been a huge champion of this. I even just saw where the new Doom they're going to put on there as well. And they're looking to hit 30 frames per second on it. But the point is, we're seeing the Bethesdas and the Ubisoft start to bring their games over to the Switch. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of ports right now. But eventually, that's going to switch into original games that actually take advantage of the Nintendo hardware that will be on there as well. And that's the beauty of Nintendo. That's why Nintendo will always have a special place in my heart, because they're not trying to compete with Microsoft and PlayStation. I think they were when the GameCube came out. I think that was they're trying to compete with the PlayStation 2. I really do. And look how that worked out for them. It didn't sell as well as they thought. They had to pivot, and that got us the original Wii, which again highlighted Nintendo doing what they did best. I don't think they were truly trying to compete with Microsoft and PlayStation with the Wii U, but they were trying to go the quote unquote more traditional route with just a Switch. Jesus, that was a terrible pun, but a twist on the traditional gaming, obviously with the Wii U controller, which really is the Switch now. Mm-hmm. And that's what it always should have been. I just think it was a little bit ahead of its time. And now that we got the Switch in its current form, I mean, look at what they're doing. It's great. And I think get that online store going, get me my Mario Brothers 3 so I can play that any and everywhere I want and start bringing some more of your back catalog to what they're doing. Keep innovating with the original IPs that they're doing. Keep doing the partnerships that they're doing with other publishers like Ubisoft, and Nintendo is in a fantastic place. And I'm very happy to see where they are. And I hope they don't change with whatever the sequel to the Switch will be. Keep doing what they're doing. Is my mantra. Don't try and change it. So your thoughts, Pete?
I don't think I can add anything else to it. There's no reason for them. They've never been known as the hardware, leader. Even going back to like the original Nintendo and stuff like that. Sega always came up with, oh well, we've got the more powerful system, but Nintendo always came back and said, yeah, but we have better games. There was a slight period of time there where Sonic and friends were at or near the top of the leaderboard, but Nintendo always came back and said, look, it's not about what you use, it's what you're playing, and it's your experience on the game. And that's why games like Mario and Donkey Kong and everything else always last it always outlasts everything else. That's why people still clamor for the Nintendo Classic, those $99 boxes with 15 games in them, because it brings them back. It's that nostalgia factor. Those games are timeless. That being said, there's no reason for Nintendo to go out and try to put out a dual SLI console, that's portable and does, all the bells and whistles. They don't need to do the RS8 of video game consoles. There's no need to. They could put out the Switch that's portable, that uses the Tegra chip, that is basically outselling and outperforming everything else out in the market right now. There's no need to. So Nintendo has zero reason to invest time and effort on hardware when their current engagement platform is top notch. You and I were on the no for the Switch list when they first talked about it, and we all ate our words. We did the moonwalk all the way out to the stores and picked one up. Some of us have picked up multiples or need to pick up multiples because we want to use them. We don't want to share them with our family. So I took mine on the trip this past weekend. So that goes to show you that's not something we could do with our gaming PCs. As much as we like to tout PC mustard race and, everybody's on, they're the console platform wars of years before with Xbox versus PlayStation. You can't carry those with you. I mean, you could get those little, those games boxes or whatever that brings you the monitor, but do you really want to walk around with 30 pounds of hardware to go play your games when you travel? No. Give me my Switch and I am okay with that. You know what I mean? So.
No, completely agree. Completely agree with what you're saying. And I want to thank Leandro for sending us that message. And again, Danny, let everybody else know where they can leave us feedback. And I also want to remind people we have a thriving community on Discord. So definitely check us out on Discord as well. Was it discord.com? discord.gg/GTR. That's our URL. That's our vanity URL. You can go there, join our community. Great bunch of folks over there. We actually, a lot of the times now these days, when we have giveaways, extra codes and things like that, we do it on Discord. We don't do it on Twitter. We don't do it on the show proper. We do it there on Discord because we want to thank that community for sticking with us over the past. It's been over a year now. We've been on Discord. I think almost going on a year and a half. But amazing community we have there. So definitely check us out on Discord. And it's funny. And I'm just going to say it on the show because I'm sure Danny's going to edit this and scream and say no. But how we do this on Twitch now, and thank you everyone that's hanging out with us on Twitch. I'm stealing this idea from the Destiny Community Podcast because when I was on there a couple months ago, what they do is they do the show on Twitch, but we actually, just like you and I are in Discord right now, they're on Discord. But what they also do is they allow people to listen to the show on Discord. Like they basically have a listen only chat feature in there. And we just have to go and get it set up. But basically, like you and I are in here right now talking in our private room, we allow members of the community to also be in the room with us, but they're permanently muted. They can't talk. They can't say anything. They can only listen. And I just think that's just a cool avenue to allow people that aren't necessarily going to jump on Twitch be able to hear the show live, excuse me, at the same time. So something we can talk about internally. but just an idea, as I'm sitting here thinking about it. Now, but before I say my last piece here, Pete, any last thing you want to bring up? Anything?
I played the most amazing game. Right now I'm calling it 11 out of 10 game of the year this past weekend in San Francisco. Went to Japantown after I did the pre-GamesCom stuff with Ubisoft, went out to dinner, was walking in Japantown. There was an arcade. I had to stop by. There's a table flipping game. And our good friend took video of this, put it up on his Twitter and Instagram stories. But you essentially go in there, you slam the table, and you have to flip it and knock people over. And dude, it was so hilarious. We were cracking up. I was hanging out with this guy, Ron. He runs Gaming Trends. So if you have a chance, go and check him out. It was so much fun. Like it's not, Overcooked 2, which, I've played on stream. It's not PUBG's. It's not, Dead Cells, like Danny says, game of the year. Super Table Flip 2. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, I saw that video. That looked interesting.
Yeah.
Nice.
Other than that, that's all I really got, man. That's all I wanted to say.
All right. Well, before we wrap up the show, I'm just going to address this on the show because if you follow me on Twitter, it's been apparent.
I already know where you're going with this.
Okay. I'm curious what you think I'm going to say, but let's see. But anyways, I've been talking about this on Twitter a lot over the past few weeks, so I'm just going to say it directly because someone asked me this question yesterday, and I guess I'd never truly thought about it, but it's the truth. So I've been active looking for a job in the industry. I've been looking to basically keep doing IT because I've said it's my strength, and more specifically security. But I applied for a job at Bungie, and I've been pretty open about it on Twitter so people know. And I've also applied for a job at Massive as well, and both staying in security, whatever. I've had some private conversations about it with various people. Obviously, I'll keep those private, but those aren't the only places that I've applied or I'm looking. The other ones I will keep private since I was asked to. So that's what I will do. But the reason I bring this up is, I'm 44. I've been doing this for 20 years at this point, just being in IT in general. And I've been doing InfoSec 11 at this point, something like that, something crazy like that. But anyways, I've been doing this a long time. Obviously we do this podcast. It has blessed me to be a part of the gaming industry kind of from the outside looking in. And I'm very thankful for it and for just all the opportunities that the three of us have had over the years. But I'm just thinking career wise, I want to do more. I don't know 100% what that is, but I know like if I worked at a studio like a Bungie or a Massive as an example, those are studios that make games that I highly respect. And I would love to be a part of that process. What that would turn into down the road, I don't know. But I want that career path or that job that every morning when I wake up, I'm excited to go to work. And what I'm finding for me, and look, I'm just being honest because it's who I am. Look, I have a great career right now. I have a great job right now. I'm able to take care of my family, which is the whole point of all this stuff, right? But I'm not necessarily excited every time I wake up in the morning to go do it. And what I'm realizing is I'm just doing the same things over and over. I'm not being innovative. I'm not creating new things. I'm just following the company line, so to speak. So I want to do something else. Like I said, to me, combining what I've already been doing with this podcast and all that, my passion for gaming with my actual true skill set of InfoSec seems like a perfect marriage, right? Like, just makes sense. So yeah, I applied for a job at Bungie. I applied for a job at Massive. I've applied for a couple other jobs at other places as well. And the whole point I'm trying to get to is if and or when I were to get one of these jobs, I would not be on Gamertag Radio anymore. It's not something that I actually thought about until yesterday when I was asked the question, but it's true. I would assume that would mean I could no longer do this podcast. That would be a very sad day. But, I know I have the full support of Danny and Pete if that were to happen. But we'll see. So I'm just putting it out there officially on the podcast so people can hear it out of my mouth and not assume or think, anything else. This is what's happening. So that's it. That's all I have to say on that. So I hope people understand it. And obviously, you see me on Twitter all the time. So, you can hit me up on Twitter if you have any other questions about that. So anything else, Pete, or should we go ahead and get out of here?
No, that's about it. You were doing the commentary and I went to go recline in my seat and almost fell out the chair. So, but yeah, there's a reason why I almost fell out my chair. I have a new chair and I'll be talking about it very, very soon on the show. So that's going to be a review coming up. Shout out to Noble Chairs for sending me this amazing, amazing new chair. I got a chance to talk to them at E3. They're a new company out of Germany, and they were, they were eager to work with us. Said, hey, let's send you out a chair, see how you like it, and we'll go from there. So, yeah.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. When you sent us that message the other day, and obviously I can see the chair right now on Twitch. Looks dope. Really does.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I'm reclining back. I've never been able to do that. It's almost like I'm in a Barca lounger, but being able to play video games and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll put out a link so you guys can check it out. It's also out on my Twitter as well. But yeah, going back to your employment conversation, our friend and I, our good friend at Ubisoft and we had dinner. That was actually a topic of conversation. Like, what would we do? And I told them pretty much what you said. It would hurt and it would suck because as friends, we're fully vested in Gamertag Radio, but an opportunity like that for you is something that we would cherish and we would foster. It's one of the tenets that Danny has always pushed across on this community is that if there's a way for us to help you, whether you're a community member or you're an actual staff member, if there's a way for us to help you break into this industry and do what you love and enjoy it, hey, we're going to support you 150%. It may, like I said on Twitter, it may not rank up there like Boston cream cupcakes or bacon cinnamon roll waffles, but we're gonna always support you on your decision to better yourself from a professional standpoint. So, dude,
no, I appreciate that. I really do. I would even say this: whether it happens or not, and the percentages on it happening, in my opinion, are less than 50%. Let's just put it that way for various reasons. But if anything, the people that have reached out to me privately has been a very humbling thing to know that there are people out there in that industry that would love for me to work with them. Almost says it all for me, whether it happens or not. I mean, like I said, there's various factors on if it were to happen or not, but I'm very blessed and just thankful for that more than anything, to know that I think I could do it. And there's a lot of people out there that believe that I could. So, I'll just say this: never give up on a dream. If you have a dream or a goal that you want to chase, it's never too late. It really isn't. Should I have probably done this 10 years ago? Maybe. I don't know. But, it's never too late. And if it doesn't happen, that's fine. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as my family's taken care of, that's all that really matters. But if I can combine passion with career, then why not? That's kind of how I'm looking at it. So I'm just exploring it. We'll see what happens. But I wanted to officially say it on the show so that there's not people always wondering if I'm leaving next week or something crazy like that. No, that's not happening. Not anytime soon. So, yeah. But let's go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank everyone that has been watching and listening via Twitch. This has been episode 787 of Gamertag Radio. I'm Paris. That's Pete. And we will see you guys really soon with Danny too.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Thank you for listening to Gamertag Radio. If you'd like to donate and help us out for future events, and more coverage and also better audio equipment, head over to donate.gamertagradio.com. That's donate.gamertagradio.com. Thank you.